right? If not, please tell me, and I can change something. So, as you see, I will talk about some kind of design principles and why is design important, and also with the rise of AI, there are some new AI features. Also, maybe in the future, you will somehow develop AI features. So I thought it would be useful for you to see what is the thought behind designing an AI feature. But why should you believe anything what I say? So I studied for 3 years business administration, and then for 2 years I studied interaction design for my master's here in Budapest, and then during that time I also worked since 5 years at iDempiere, and my main focus is product design, UX UI design. So what do designers do? We usually deal with the problem and the solution spaces. And usually the high fidelity designs, the Figma prototypes, the tangible results are always just at the end of the process. So we do a lot of things in between. We do research, we do something like Frank was talking about, we do user testing, we deal with standards, UI standards, and accessibility to make a system better and more usable. So the first part of it is to identify what problem to solve. I think my coworkers know that a lot of times I'm annoying, and I ask in the 2 hours of the talks, I ask that, yeah, but what is the problem? And I ask it like 5 times because, yeah, we have to identify the right problem to solve. And the other part is to solve the problem right. But now that you can somehow imagine how designers work and approach problems, let's talk about AI and how it came. I don't know if some of you are familiar with this chart. Maybe yes, maybe no. But it represents the hype cycle of emerging technologies. For example, emerging technology can be AI. At the beginning, it was up here. It was really hyped. People were talking about it. It was really interesting for them. But maybe we start to be in this stage where people become disappointed. They understand the capabilities of AI and what we can do with it. During more experimentation and time, these technologies become part of our everyday lives, and it kind of got to a standard point, or we kind of understand how to use it in our everyday lives and the benefits of the technology. So, trends are coming into ERP software too. Here are some of them displayed. For example, hyper-personalization. It's easier to personalize because generative AI enables us to explain and humanize data better for the user, which is benefiting for them. So, apart from these new things in the ERP industry or era, there are some other things happening on the market which are not related to ERP, but are happening on the market, and we should be aware of it. People are using these kind of UIs, they are used to them, they are using them intuitively because the navigation is intuitive, the UI is intuitive, the components are working standard ways. People are using in their everyday lives financial applications, banking applications. This is, for example, Revolut. You may be familiar with it because it's international. But also they are shopping online. So the interactions are part of our everyday process in the everyday lives, and so should be the product strategy that we are working on. So, what kind of features could you brainstorm to be part of iDempiere as an AI feature? For example, auto-generation of texts, articles, documentation, to humanize the information that we are reading out from code and we are getting from the commits. Or for example, there are other types of usages, for example, chatbots with which you can discuss if you are lost as a user. Or we can guide the users through contextual guidances. For example, in the software, you could explain tooltips, you could onboard the user, and you could say recommendations and concrete records. Or we could, for example, produce human-readable release summaries. Or we could use more intuitive search with natural language processing. We could forecast with the help of predictive AI. Or, for example, we could chat about our business data, which is already in iDempiere. Or, for example, more straightforward option is to automate repetitive tasks where you usually write your own text. For example, when you are a customer service representative, or you do deal with cases, bugs, then you can automate replies to them and improve the communication and therefore the user satisfaction. So now I want to, this is the Notion. I don't know if you are familiar with, but Notion is a software where you can write content, create databases, customize views, and this is the board or the database that we use for gathering our content for the information to not get lost from our heads. And their feature is that in some columns can use AI to autofill or generate summaries in the fields. And I would like to here explain that here I'm updating this empty field, and the AI autofills. I can either autofill the whole view, it informs me about my decision that I'm going to override something. But what is behind? So behind the thought, what designers thought about it, is that we have to see an indication that AI is there. We cannot hide it, it cannot be auto-generated without informing the user. So we have the visual indication of AI, and we have also the user initiation. The user initiates the process of updating the field. We also get a visual feedback. Here, AI is writing, something is happening. The system informs us. It's a back and forth communication with human and technology. The user can judge if the AI is predicting or generating the response in a way that is acceptable or not. If not, we can still change the response. Yeah, thank you. So the system communicates, and if we don't accept its response, it will generate another one, right? You can see it changes to power user from end user. It will think it's better, but it's still not, so we can delete it every time. We cannot hinder the user, but we have to empower them with the AI features, and that way we can create impact for them.
I cannot see my daughters.
But the ultimate goal is to solve a user pain point and not just to create AI purposelessly. Maybe that's not the right word, but I think you understand me, that AI feature has to have a purpose, we have to understand that it comes with resources that we use in the back. So it has to be important and valuable. One of the principles now we are getting to when designing for AI services, it has to be value driven. So I will talk about the following principles that when we are designing an AI service are important to think about. The first one is feedback loop. The second one is the human is in control. And the fourth one is transparency, AI confidence. So I will explain it in an example feature. Maybe we will think about a feature that would identify a duplicate record when I am creating it. So the flow is that the user starts to create a new record, it starts to input data, and the AI identifies a duplicate which is existing. But the user can make a judgment and override the decision of AI, and in this part, the user can decide if he accepts the decision or not. Here we can collect data, if the AI is giving the right solutions to our problems or not. And the impact is always, if I accept or not accept the AI recommendation, it's always that the record is created without duplication, in this case. And in the end, user feedback is important to know if it was helping, because it can improve the service over the time. I will explain on more examples. So I found designs on the internet, and maybe to better see, I can zoom there. No, I can't. So the first principle that I will talk about is transparency. In this case, it's a chat where user asks to evaluate the design, and the system responds. But what is missing? We don't know how sure is the AI, and it's especially important when we deal about these things in business data. We have to show either the percentage, the accuracy, and we have to show the sources, how the AI decided that this will be the right response. Because it just generates, but we have to know the accuracy behind it. So, feedback loop. Usually, this is possible or already integrated in the systems that are like, for example, chatbots. You see here the thumbs up, thumbs down part, where you can provide additional feedback in the end, and it's important because you can improve the service over time. The third principle is human is in control. So, for example, here, Acumatica, ERP software, they specialize for AI features also. And in this case, they have here in the back a case which is like a reported problem, and it was solved. And they are generating a response, or they're closing the case with human readable information that we don't have to type, but we can press a button to generate, and it doesn't send it immediately. We can still change it. It's important that we empower the user to change the AI response. It's not just that I say, okay, generate send, and we are done. No, we have to have the human in control. Another example, or the principle, is value-driven AI usage. I demonstrated it also on examples. So, for example, we have a report in iDempiere, and we have the data, but to understand better what we see, for example, I generated this with ChatGPT without data, for example, but if we have data in the background, we can easily generate human-readable, contextual summaries which give value to the user, because they don't have to look at the report for like 2 hours to understand what they see, but they see it just in a few minutes if they generate a summary for them. But for example, we have to consider resources also here. Why show it every time when I open the report? I use resources. AI is not cheap. Also not for the planet. So we have to think about that too. Another example is, for example, CEO chat about business performance. It's from Acumatica too. So this one, you see that the person asks for information, it provides summary text, human readable, it provides a graph, and the impact is big because it gives better overview for the person who is using it, and it's better in the stakeholder satisfaction, and we are better informed. But this is also consider resources. Don't let users generate countless of them. So you might think that, oh, it's too much to do around an AI service, and feedback loop is not important. But yes, it's important because maybe they put their information that we can use for bettering the product itself, maybe even without an AI service, and it may be small changes that can make the satisfaction of the user better. And I want to encourage you to incorporate user feedback to create a better value for the users or the business that you are providing software for. Moving on to the second part of my presentation, I will talk about using design standards and best practices and why it's important. So, think about the users in your head. What software are they using? How old are they? Who are they? What business role they work in? Maybe we have someone here who already is a user or a stakeholder in this case. How old are they? What are their skills? What are their pain points, their expectations? And for example, if you think about them, we can see for example, this kind of user who, this is an empathy map that you see. Here are the listed tools. She's used to work in Excel. She's a manufacturing operation manager. She has a high say when they are choosing software. For example, she values dashboards, quick access to information and data, to understand the analytics right away. She doesn't like clunky UIs, and she wants to work with an efficient software.
She's not using iDempiere.
She's not using iDempiere yet. Yeah, she's not using iDempiere yet. But what is the change? These people started using ChatGPT. Their expectations completely changed about how they use software. It's not only about market trends that we were talking about in the beginning. It's not only that they are used to better UIs, better usability, better, quicker access to information, but they are basically cooking with ChatGPT. How to cook a rice? So their expectations may be to have in an ERP system predictive analytics, automated workflows to reduce manual work, support their real-time decision making. For example, there can be also image recognition. I saw a similar plugin for invoices. Chatbots, virtual assistants, they are used to it. And in business software, it's important for them. But also natural language processing and intuitive search and navigation, it's important for them. So, my ultimate goal with this presentation is, I think, for you to take away is that to involve users, stakeholders in the process of design, development, because not only I am the designer, but you are all the designers because you are shaping the product itself. Also, data analysts or other other subject matter experts that you need when designing a service or a feature. Yes, and also it's important to consider what we talked about in the beginning, the trends and the strategy, what is happening, and to gather people around and build better services over time with feedback incorporated, product strategy, community to create better value for businesses. I think the users don't want to feel like this, and we want to achieve to at least like it's not bad. For example, a lot of softwares which are like built in, for example, 2 weeks, users consider them as usable products, or they trust them because it looks nice. There is the aesthetic usability effect that users perceive attractive products as more usable, they trust them more. And now I would like to show you an example. I generated this with AI. It's an interface for iDempiere, just to see for inspiration. But we don't have to use it. I think if you look at it, you understand that as you are a long-time user of iDempiere, that it's not viable for you. It's not tangible enough for the processes that we are creating. But we can get inspired by that. For example, we see standards. The AI is designing based on standards, best practices, which it sees in other systems. We can be inspired by standard car designs, or here in the upper part you can see standard navigation patterns, which make the usability of the system better. Or for example, nice layout and clear, colorful pages can make reading information more understandable or better. But maybe you don't see in the back what's the difference between the two of these. But we need to consider accessibility of colors, designers. This is like a more nitpicking part, but designers work based on standards and best practices that you can find in design systems and frameworks. And for example, maybe you can cut this out of the video, but ZK is not using really good standards, usability standards. It's not in line with today's standards because we communicated them. In last year, December, we exchanged like 3 emails, and they created a Figma design system. And when I saw it, I saw a lot of mistakes. I saw that the colors are not accessible, the fonts are not accessible enough. But also the standard interactions of buttons, because I think when you implemented the new theme for iDempiere, you could say that something is wrong, but how to identify what is wrong? The standards are not kept. On the right, you can see a standard screenshot from a design system, how should the button work, but this here is a disabled state of the button that you cannot click on. And this here, it's from Reka, and it's a button that you should click on. It's in a hover state. When you go with your mouse over the button, it's in hover state, but it's completely different because the 99% of the world understand this as a disabled button that you cannot click on, and in that kind it cannot be different. But good news is that we can customize it, and how to customize it. I think it's important to consider standards, best practices, also what Frank was talking about, but we have to consider that some assumptions have to be tested, have to be validated, have to be gathered, and we have to follow a guideline. And I think that guideline, or that single source of truth for us, can be a design system. You don't have to read it, I will talk about these things. But the design system, yeah, I think it has to be first drawn in Figma, or the ZK design system has to be like edited to customize colors, states, standard interactions, and it has to be designer approved because you have to go through the process that we saw at the beginning, this one. We have to find ourselves here at the end. We were talking about assumptions in the beginning, and we have to validate them. And we can validate them either with users or with standards and best practices that we can see in other design systems. So, yeah, that was my second point. And we have to also define what is the focus, what is the scope. We don't want to change the whole world, but we don't want to also change or understand modern design as flat design. We don't have to change everything. We have to understand that good design is just implementing the best practices and the standards that already exist on the market. And to keep up with the expectations of the users and to keep building trust with them, so they will trust us in a long time. Also, what a high problem what I saw, and it's also from personal experience, because I use iDempiere in like 5, maybe 10% of my time in the company. But now that we work on the documentation, I start to understand how it works. But it could be eliminated, those 5 years of work in the company. I start to understand how the software works. It could be eliminated by 10 minutes of clicking through. I open the application and it communicates, okay, this is a record, how to work with a record. You see here the toolbar, this is for going back, this is for saving the record, don't forget this, that. So it's important for the users to understand right at the beginning, so they don't have to read a book or they don't have to read documentation, but they see the onboarding in the software itself. So we have to focus on evolving with the market changes and solving the right problems. Yeah, this is an example for onboarding, and there are a lot of existing solutions on the market that could be used. Maybe some of you have already experienced with that, or you already implemented them. And these are some resources. Maybe I will put here more if you are more interested in the topic. Then, yeah, that was my presentation. Thank you very much. Any questions?
What was this black system, that black screen that you played with AI columns, enabled columns or something? What was this? You know, what is it?
Yeah, it's Notion.
You can show it.
Yeah, I can show it. I can show it to you.
That is currently. I will talk in the next presentation, since it will be hard because it for the high level now. But I will talk a bit how we are using, how we are going in which way. But Notion is like a confluence, very often the similar, but it's about the writing, and it's the block editor. Block editor means you can open a white page, you can put a block like a table or H1 paragraph or any other, and they have a block for AI, for example. And looks me, it was stupid proof things. Those two guys are the founder, they have a big money for the development, and it balancing our problem we have with our system. So we are using it and trying to understand how we can improve those features, or part of them, or some of them, into the iDempiere. Because for example, this onboarding is just one JavaScript library. It can be done in one day for Carlos or anything to integrate. Really simple. But with the design, I think, with UX design.
Thank you.
Okay.
So we can go for a break.
So you don't want to show Notion? I think.
Oh, I thought I showed the website.
Do you want to see or not?
Yeah?
Very quickly, just an example, how those examples are working, how those examples you are showed, how you can use it, for example, in our content fragment table.
So it has like a free structure. A lot of freelancers use it. It's not like an enterprise software, but you can manage your thoughts there basically and organize your thoughts. Mm-hmm.
Can you switch to white?
Yeah, so for example, this is the table or the page where it's kind of still loading, but here we are like gathering our content. It's like a big table. And
So,
these are...
may I ask a question? Do you
Yeah.
use the system internally or
Internally.
Internally.
Sharing with customers and data.
so it's not for customers, it's you playing with this by yourself? Yeah.
Yeah, we use it for like gathering internal information that we may put in the documentation when it's ready to put in there, for example.
My perspective. So, in perspective of
We don't
iDempiere,
really hear you.
in the perspective of iDempiere, this is a regular table in window as well. It's designed on the JSON and unstructured system, but on each, the problem is those systems are, the model is really open and you can destroy data very quickly, so it's not affordable to complex workforce, I think. But here, you see, you have some icons, and on each icons you can define the AI prompt, and you say, okay, I have this summary field, and do you want a default prompt? If you want, just put there, and you say, okay, if this is the description, all data here are our content candidates to documentation. So if you put there something, it's not finished. For example, Igor is not, he has a low output, he's talking not too much, but this AI can understand it quickly how he wants to talk in context, in context. So he's able to describe what is about. It helps us a lot, I think.
Yeah, we just look at it and identify that, okay, this is the overview.
Can you zoom?
Can you zoom?
Unfortunately, no, but
Can you switch to
it's
white?
in Slovak.
White? Not that.
I don't know how to switch now.
It's not important, no. I think Notion is available. You can subscribe for free. I think it is for free up to some specific features. And also AI is available for 10 euros maybe or 20 monthly. But they have big limits, so as we told yesterday, it's not easy to ask too many. They are really economical and ecologist, I think. So you can ask a big documentation, but the success is limited. It's about how many capacities are available, how you can use it. So.
Yeah, it's not like something that we were discussing yesterday. It's not connected to iDempiere. We don't want to connect it with iDempiere. It's just for to better organize information that we encounter daily. Okay, so thank you. I think we should go for a break.